We're here today at Algonquin Regional for Medfield, Ashland, Dover, Sherborne versus Algonquin Regional High School Varsity Gymnastics.
Competing today, we have MADS. They are coached by Jen and their captains are Sophia and Allie. And their home team, Algonquin. Coached by myself, and captains are Julia, Erin, and Emma. Just a reminder, there's no flash photography for the safety of the athletes. And now please stand for the national anthem.
So MADS will be starting on vault tonight, and in high school gymnastics, for people who might not know, there are 6 gymnasts that compete per event. The top 4 scores count, and those scores are totaled together to make the team score and decide the winning team at the end of the meet. So it looks like the teams have switched and MADS will be starting on bars tonight. So the first competitor tonight for MADS will be Leon Galley, who's a student at Dover Sherborne and a junior. A nice routine from Leon. She's been doing really well in the leadoff position this year on bars. So as the judges are scoring the event, they're looking for good form, the difficulty of skills, amplitude in everything that they do, and solid stuck landings. So the next competitor for MADS will be Allie Keaveney, who's a co-captain and a junior from Ashland. That was a nice solid routine from Allie. Allie didn't compete bars much last year, so she's been working on getting all of her skills back this season. And it looked like the score for Leon Galley was a 7.5. Next up is DS freshman Merritt Sullivan. Merritt's having a great first season in high school gymnastics. And the score for Allison Keaveney is a 7.8. A nice solid routine from Merritt. She's been very consistent during the year. The fourth competitor for MADS on bars tonight is Nia Riho, who's a freshman from Medfield. This is a heavily freshman team. 11 new team members this year, 7 returning members, only 1 senior. And the score for Merritt Sullivan is at 8.0. Nia is also having a great first season with MADS. She's been a strong and consistent competitor whose scores have been contributing to the team scores at every meet. Up next for MADS will be Sophia Cutler, who's the only senior captain on the team from Dover Sherborne. Sophia was a state all-around qualifier last year. Sometimes the scoring can take a little bit of time where the judges tally up their deductions and any bonuses the gymnasts might have for difficult skills. And the score for Nia Riho is 8.6. That's a beautiful dismount from Sophia Cutler. She gets extra credit for the double back dismount, and you can see from that routine why she was last year's team MVP. And the final competitor up on bars tonight is Kat Poulopoulos, who's a sophomore from Medfield. This is Kat's first year on the team, even though she's a sophomore. She's been a dedicated club gymnast, and that sometimes precludes gymnasts from also competing at the high school level because of the time commitment. But MADS is very glad to have her this year. She has a very high level of skills and difficulty. And the score for Sophia Cutler is an 8.8. Kat shows a lot of power and speed in her bar routine, and a great dismount, super high. She loses a few tenths on the extra steps at the bottom. And that 9.0, I think, may be a score adjustment for Sophia Cutler. So yes, the 9.0 is a score adjustment for Sophia Cutler, and the score for Kat Poulopoulos is a 9.3. So that's a total event score for bars for MADS of 34.9, which is pretty about average for what they've been scoring this season on that event. And they'll be moving to vault next. Well, Algonquin will move on to bars. So as MADS moves to vault, I'll just explain briefly how vault works. Each girl will take 2 vaults. The higher score will count. And for vaulting, traditionally, people who've seen gymnastics on TV might know that 10.0 was a perfect score at one point. And for vault, a lot of these gymnasts, their vaults aren't difficult enough to start at a 10.0, so their highest possible score may be somewhat less than that. And I'll try and let you know what the highest score they could possibly get on each vault as I proceed. So the first vaulter for MADS will be Becca Rose, who's an Ashland junior. She'll be doing a half-on, half-vault, half-off vault, which has a start value of 9.0. So that means the highest possible score that she can receive on this vault is a 9.0. That's a nice vault from Becca. She's been really solid in the leadoff position on vault this year. So in this case, I'm sure Becca will count her first vault. She had a little mat slip at the end of that second one. But that's the beauty of 2 vaults. You get to keep the better one. And you'll notice you'll probably see some different gymnasts on each event. Only 2 girls per team are allowed to compete on all 4 events. And the next vaulter is Allie Keaveney from Ashland. Allie will probably be doing a Sukahara in the tuck position. Vaulting here at Algonquin High School is slightly different from the gym that they're used to practicing in, because the vault where they normally compete is over a pit, which makes for a softer landing. And here on the gym floor, it's a little bit more difficult, so some gymnasts won't compete as difficult a vault as they normally would in this situation. And Becca's score is an 8.15. So the start value on that vault for Allie is a 9.6, just slightly less than the highest value of 10.0. She'll have a deduction of about 0.5 from that for landing on her knees. And hopefully the second vault, she'll be able to stand up. a better vault for Allie. Vault is a really strong event for this team, and it's part of the reason why they finished second last year at the New England Championships. So the third vaulter for MADS tonight is Nia Rijo. She's a freshman from Medfield. And score for Allie Keaveney is an 8.6. It's a bit lower than she's used to, but as I mentioned, this vaulting on the hard surface floor is a little more difficult. So it's a nice vault from Nia, same vault as Allison with a 9.6 start value. And it looks like Nia is going to opt to do only one vault tonight because of the stress on their knees and ankles on the hard surface landing. She had a great first vault, so she's going to choose to forego the second one. So up next is Megan White, who's a sophomore from Medfield. She's returning from the New England Championship team too. She finished 4th on vault at the state championships last year, which qualified her to compete as an individual at New England's, along with Allie Keaveney, who also made the same qualification. And the score for Nia is an 8.8. So Megan usually does this vault in pike, but I believe she said she was going to do it in tuck tonight, same as the previous two gymnasts. So because Megan didn't touch the springboard or the vault, that doesn't count as a vault attempt, so she still has 2 vaults. She's been struggling a little bit with a sore knee, so this surface may bother her a bit. And that's a nice vault from Megan. She did do it in tuck, which is also a 9.6 start value. Usually she does that vault in pike, which is a little bit more difficult. And it looks like Megan will only do 1 vault today also. So they're changing the mats around a little bit for the vault. Sophia has a little bit of a different entry where she does a back handspring onto the vault. That's called a Yurchenko. And this vault in pike has a 9.8 start value. And Megan scores an 8.9. And nice vault from Sophia. We'll see if she's going to do a second vault. And it looks like she will. These teams already met once this season in the season opener on December 23rd. MADS came out the winner, 142.25 over Algonquin, who had a 140.15. So this is a rematch. I'm sure Algonquin would like to come out on top this time. And she'll probably keep the first vault score on that one. And the last vaulter tonight is Kat Poulopoulos from Medfield. She does a bit different vault from some of the other girls too, a handspring front, which has a 10.0 start value, the most difficult vault that the girls from MADS are doing today. And Sophia scores a 9.1. Oh, a little bit low on the landing. She's sometimes a little bit over on that vault, and this vault is set up pretty close to the wall. I know from warm-up she's been a little bit nervous about that distance. Great vault, fabulous. Super height on that, nice landing. And that'll be it for vault for MADS. It looks like Algonquin has at least one more gymnast to go in bars. I think this is Sequoia Trong, who's a sophomore. She finished 22nd on bars at the state meet last year, so a solid competitor with some experience. And the score for Kat is a 9.5, fantastic. Okay, it looks like they're getting ready to start on floor. First competitor is Maggie Apostoli, and I apologize to her if I'm murdering her last name. She's a freshman from Ashland. Nice lead-off routine from Maggie. In a floor routine, the girls have certain elements that they have to complete. 3 acrobatic tumbling passes, a turn on one foot, a dance series, and that's part of their score, that they complete those requirements. And also, of course, form, the composition and the routine, their artistry, and their level of difficulty. So Merritt Sullivan, the freshman from Dover Sherborne, will be the second competitor on floor. So while we wait for the scoring, I acquired a friend here, Caitlin Keaveney, who was a member of the New England championship team last year and an alum of the MADS team. So hopefully she can add some expertise to the comments. And Maggie scores a 6.0. So nice routine from Merritt Sullivan. So Caitlin, there are a lot of new faces on the team this year compared to last year. How do you think these guys look compared to the New England championship team from last year?
Well, I think they probably had a lot of pressure on them to step into big shoes because we lost a lot of seniors last year, but I think they're coming out and looking awesome so far. Their scores are pretty comparable to what we were getting as freshmen, and I think if they keep working hard that they'll be right up where we were.
That's great. Matt's had a lot of success last year, as we mentioned, and part of the overall team score not only contributes, of course, to winning the meet, but also at the end of the season, each team takes its top 4 team scores from the course of the season, and they're averaged. And then the top 12 teams in the north section and the top 12 teams in the south section are invited to compete at the north and south sectional. So MADS has been competing since, I think, 2014 in the sectionals, and has advanced beyond that to states twice and, of course, to New England's last year. So Merritt has an 8.7, and the next competitor is Allie Keaveney from Ashland. Front layout. Allie looked like she was having a little trouble with that in warm-ups. routine from Allie. So as we were talking about North and South sectionals, it looks like Algonquin last year did not qualify for sectionals. But as you could see from some of the banners hanging around the gym, is that they've been state champions for a number of years, most recently in 2012. And then they lost quite a few seniors to graduation 2 years ago, so they've been in a rebuilding year. But based on their score, first time out, it looks like they'll be back in the mix this year. So next up will be Kat Poulopoulos from Medfield. And an 8.9 for Allie Keaveney. Besides being a great tumbler, Kat has a really fun floor routine. That definitely contributes to the artistry points. Sophia with a little confusion in the order tonight, but that's okay. Looks like Megan White will be up next. Megan's a sophomore from Medfield. She actually finished third on floor at last year's state individual championships, which qualified her to compete as an individual at New England's as well. So Caitlin, what are the girls thinking about when they're standing out there just waiting and waiting and waiting?
In my opinion, waiting is the absolute worst part because going through your head is everything that could possibly go wrong. But I think all the cheering from your teammates really helps, and it's best to just stay calm and visualize doing a good job.
And that was a big 9-4 score from Kat. It was a great score. I think that might be her highest of the season. Sophia will be up on floor. She was a little anxious before. Sophia has a great floor routine. I think she probably has some of the best artistry of any of the gymnasts on the team. And she's been a consistent high performer for MADS since her freshman year, really. And the score for Megan White is a 9.1. Great routine from Sophia. So that's it for floor. It looks like there's another competitor left on beam for Algonquin. So for the Ashland viewers, there's 2 additional Ashland students on the team, freshmen Abby Sherman and Lexi Nash. Lexi competed a nice beam routine in the second meet, and Abby hasn't competed yet, but with such a big team and only 6 girls up per event, I'm sure these girls will get their turn eventually. Yeah, we look forward to seeing what all these freshmen will bring to the future. And a 9.2 for Sophia Cutler. I have another friend now.
Oh, yes.
So now I have Chrissy Tosti, who is another graduate and another member of MADS New England's team last year.
Yes.
Just fantastic. How's it being back?
It is wonderful. I definitely miss it, but it's nice to watch from the outside and see how it's different.
And I asked Caitlin what she thought of this team, so many new faces, and how do you think they're doing compared to that so successful team last year?
Really well. They remind me a lot of how we were our freshman year. There's a lot of new people, and I think that's really good. They have a lot to build on, and they're already almost as good, way better than we were when we first came in. So, but they're definitely keeping it going. So I'm excited to see how it's going to get in the next coming years.
Definitely lots of promise for them.
Yes.
So do you know who the Algonquin gymnast is? I've been trying to keep a little bit track, but
I don't know her name. No. I know a couple of them, the older ones, but
right. It changes fast, doesn't it?
yes.
Now you're just old, Chrissy.
Yes. No, I know. Come back and I have no idea who any of these people are.
So fall on beam is a mandatory 5/10 deduction. Beam must be going a little slowly. It looks like they still have one more person up. Yeah, at least one more. Exactly.
There's a lot standing.
I haven't caught much of their scores. I saw the beam score prior to this one was an 8.2. This is a long wait for beam.
Definitely.
Your favorite event, Chrissy?
I was not a big beam competitor in my gymnastics days. I think I maybe stayed on once in about an 8-year career of gymnastics. So
It's tough. It gets quiet, and you're waiting and waiting and thinking about staying on.
Oh, you want to stay here? I mean, I have a fight right now. You need me to move over more, though? Yeah, I need you to move to 10. I'll be moving over in a minute. Do you want me to focus on that right now? Yeah, that's just what I'm getting. So, you bring your camera like to the right and just get the 10 shot on the beam. I think would be good. For the left. You can get a 10 for the left.
All right, so MADS will be up on beam next. It looks like they're gonna take a quick warm up. So while they're warming up, I got another friend from last year's New England's team, Laura Cerulli, who's from Medfield, and back from school to help out.
yeah.
Laura was the beam queen. She was fantastic on beam always. So it's fun to have you guys back and everything. So what do you think when they're going through their quick little warm up? What kind of stuff are they thinking about or trying to get ready for?
Well, I always
always remembered I liked this. I don't know if this just is just me, but I really liked the beam here. So I'm hoping that they do too, because you'd be surprised how much a beam can impact how you think you're going to do or how you actually end up doing. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I was talking a little bit earlier about the hard surface versus soft surface vaulting makes a big difference in what kind of skills they do, and so I can imagine a nice, happy, solid beam. No wind up there, as they like to say, right?
A lot of it's in the head, but.
Absolutely. So, do you still remember the high school requirements? What girls have to have in a routine?
I know not much. I mean, I barely knew it from my own routine. There was one meet that I didn't do all of the things I was supposed to. I do remember that.
Right, yeah, it happens. Especially sometimes I feel like when you fall and then you kind of forget where you are, lose your place in your routine.
I think that's what happened.
So, kind of like floor, though, they're judging your artistry and grace and form, of course, as on all the events. So according to my little score sheet, cheat sheet, you have to have a full turn, a flight element, which on beam means that your hands and your feet are both off of the beam at the same time. So like a back handspring or a round off are probably the two most common, although
Usually, yeah.
with last year's team we had a bunch of back tucks, and there's a few on this team, which is nice, some advanced skills that this team has been fortunate to have, because a lot of teams don't have that.
Yeah. A lot of consistent skills, it looks like here.
Yeah, definitely. They had a really great night on beam last night against Natick with the girls who are first up in the rotation, which takes off the pressure, like you, who always had to go near the end. But so to explain to people who might not know, how do you think Jen decides who starts off the event versus who she puts at the end?
Basically, it's people with more advanced skills end up going later on. Usually the first people up are more consistent people, and then, I mean, the skills usually get harder as they go on, and the start value usually also adds up.
Adds up, right? It's good.
Bonus and all of that.
So that first competitor up is usually pretty consistent because they set a nice base score for the team. And when at least from my long ago years of competing, when you have that first score and it comes out pretty high, then the judges are kind of used to seeing the scores go up as the competition goes along. So sometimes it might just give you just a little extra edge as you get towards the end.
It's definitely nice to feel and see other people starting off strong, because as soon as people get a little wobbly, it gets in your head sometimes.
It does. It's contagious, right? But staying on can be too, right?
Yeah.
And like last night, I think Becca had her personal best. She started out led off beam with a 9.
I saw that. That was amazing.
Fantastic. And that definitely takes the pressure off of girls coming later to stay on too.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you're a little more relaxed, everything just goes a little more smoothly.
Pressure, but it's good pressure.
Right. So. Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Nice, yeah. So I think Jen was going with the same lineup, but there's definitely more than 6 girls warming up.
I was just thinking, I was actually just counting everyone because it did not look.
It's always good to be prepared, I guess.
Definitely. It's not a bad thing. Yeah.
No, and in the meet last night, Megan White only completed about a third of her beam routine because
really?
she's been having trouble with her knee.
Yeah,
So-
I actually asked her about that on the floor. She only has one knee brace, so she's
Yeah.
switching it off, I guess. Knees take so much impact. It's
I was thinking about that with her vault tonight too.
Mm-hmm.
But she looked pretty good.
floor. She got it.
She did. She pulled it out well in competition when it came right down to it.
It's always the worst to have that happen before you compete.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah. I mean, sometimes the lineup is a last-minute decision who's feeling shit, because beam is such a toss-up usually on whether you're just feeling really off that day.
Right, and it looks like Megan, who it usually competes beam and is a pretty solid competitor, is not competing tonight, probably because of that knee bothering her.
Yeah.
But better that she gets it healthy, so as they get closer to the end of the season, she's back to 100%.
Such a cool dismount. I love that.
It is a very cool dismount, and we were actually talking about your bars dismount last night.
Yeah. Oh, I loved that dismount.
Everyone loved that dismount. It was so fun to watch. And I don't think I've seen anyone else do it at all this year. And you were really the only one.
Yeah. I mean, I had to get creative when I couldn't do other things. I couldn't do pretty ordinary things like a flyaway. And I had to do that instead. I was a head case on most events.
That worked out in your favor, though, so it's all right. All right, it looks like they're finally ready on beam. So Leon Galley from DS, a junior, is the first competitor. I think this is her first time competing beam this season. She looks pretty confident for her first time up this season.
She's always been very solid on a lot of things. Very nice.
Nice, that's a great way for them to start. So when Kat looks like she's just doing a little bump in warm up, which gymnasts are allowed to do in between competitors while the judges are still tallying the score from the previous routine. Becca's going through her routine in her head.
I used to always do that. I was so terrified of forgetting it. Never happened, but huge fear.
So next up will be Becca Rose, who's an Ashland junior. Becca had her personal best last night on beam against Natick, a 9.0, so hopefully she'll be just as consistent tonight. Did you like having the floor music in the background when you were competing?
I actually kind of did, because it was like too much silence. I couldn't do it, and I was so used to at practice I would always have another level on the floor, so there would always be music going on in the background. So it was just like I was in practice, and it was a lot less stressful that way. But sometimes I would end up doing my stuff, all my moves to the music, not on purpose at all. But
I agree, though. Sometimes when there's no music in the background, it's so quiet.
yeah,
Becca's not paying attention. There we go.
you never know if someone wants to be cheered for on beam or just wants it completely silent.
So Leon's score is a 7.15. Nice solid jumps. As you're saying, it's so quiet right now.
Yeah.
A nice connection too. No doubt that she got that.
Very nice.
Nice job.
Nothing better than leading off with 2 hit routines.
Absolutely. We'll see how Becca's score is compared to last night. It seemed like just as solid a routine, but it's a judgment sport, judgment call. So it's always interesting to see what some people see and others don't.
Yeah.
So next up is Merritt Sullivan, who's a freshman from DS. She's a really pretty gymnast.
Yeah, very nice lines.
Waiting for them to add faster.
Always feels like forever.
She's so poised standing out there too.
It's impressive. I was always fidgeting. Well, she is a little too.
It's hard not to.
Yeah. Got this, Barrett. That was a long one.
This is a really long one. She looks very ready to get going. There we go. So Becca scores a 7.55. That seems pretty tough to me, but
Definite hard judges
yeah.
today. But as long as they're fair all around, and
That's very true.
although it's annoying to get the worst score they gotta remember.
It is, but it's true. As long as they're consistent, then in the long run, it doesn't make a difference. Pretty routine. They look like they're on tonight on beam.
Yeah.
3-step routines.
Just hoping it keeps going.
And hopefully the scoring will not be as long for poor Nia. Allie's entertaining the crowd, yes. So next up is Nia Rijo from Medfield. And she's a freshman. It's hard to keep all the towns straight.
Oh, I know. Especially with all the freshmen that came in. So many.
There are so many of them. Hopefully they'll all stick with it.
Yeah.
It's great to have so many options for lineups, and I think MADS has used 4 different all-arounders already this season, so it's not a bad problem to have. You know,
No,
too many
definitely
girls who
not.
can do every event. So Merritt scores an 8.3 tonight. Definitely tough on beam.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful routine.
Very nice, dude.
Those turns are so hard. They don't look, for people who don't know, some of these skills look much more difficult, but those turns are so hard to stay on.
Sometimes it's like more nerve-wracking than your actual series that you have to do. It's crazy.
Still nice routine, and still credit for the back tucks, and she landed her feet. You know. So Kat Poulopoulos, who I'm probably murdering her last name, been saying it wrong all night, is up next. And she's a sophomore from Medfield. And for anyone who knows club levels, she's competing level 10 this year, so that in itself is pretty impressive.
Very impressive.
And it looks like Algonquin is finished on floor, so it's nice they've given Kat and Sophia, who've yet to go, a little background music, so it's not so quiet in the gym.
They finished fast.
They did. Floor seemed to go much faster than beam tonight. The score for Nia is a 7.5. Even with a fall, that seems pretty low to me.
Yeah.
Nice back tuck. So Kat has a really cool dismount.
Oh, love this.
Very different.
So it sounds like they're hitting everyone with composition.
Merrick got 4 points off the composition. I got 5.
There are some judges that just
What is that? Isn't that just how like the routine, like the dance of the routine?
usually it's what you use to fill up. It's kind of confusing, but it's what you use to fill up your routine. And sometimes if it's all jumps or something.
There's nothing else I can put.
Oh no, I know, but your jumps are beautiful. Not every judge does that.
So composition deductions, that's what they're saying. This judge maybe puts an emphasis on composition. And I wondered if maybe Merritt didn't get the connection on her back walk over back handspring.
yeah.
She had a little bit of a pause, so I don't remember offhand what that deduction is, but just another, they add up little tenths here and there. So one lonely gymnast left to go. Sophia Cutler, our only senior and captain.
Beautiful on beam.
She is beautiful on beam.
On everything, really, but
She has just gorgeous form, always. I don't think I've ever seen her with a bent leg or anything out of place.
her confidence too, it really makes her stand out. Always has her head up.
Yeah, that makes a big difference too, and how you're perceived, I think, when they look at you and you look confident, then I think sometimes the judges just believe you can do it. All right, last one up, Sophia. and a 8.75 for Kat. So relatively speaking, that's a very high score for tonight.
Especially since. No.
She's there. So Kat actually had a 36.95 all around tonight, which is
Beautiful fight on that.
fantastic.
Very nice. Just the dismount. Beautiful.
Nice. So nice job staying on for Soph too. Good fight on those skills. So now we can just wait for her score and for the final results from the meet tonight. So quick. Can't even miss this. Allie looks like she's guessing the score.
She's getting pretty impatient over there.
And it looks like it is a and an 8.9 for Sophia. That's a great score for tonight. So my total, keeping my track as the meet went along, is a 141.3 for MADS tonight, which is on the low side for them. They scored a little more than 4 points higher last night, but the judging was tough tonight, so
Very tough, yeah.
we'll see what Algonquin's total is. While we wait for them to finish up tallying everything, the MADS girls certainly always appreciate fans coming out to watch them, so they'll be back Monday, January 15th against Shrewsbury and the other TVL co-op team, Medway, Holliston, and Millis, at 10 a.m. at their home gym at Gymnastics Express in Natick. So no school day. Taking advantage, I guess, of those extra days.
Looks like Jen might be fighting some scores.
Yeah, Jen is known for her score inquiries, which can help. You know, sometimes judges may miss something.
That's great.
In the meet, at Bridgewater Raynham last week, Kat's gainer pike dismount is a superior skill in pike, but not in tuck, and the judge counted it as if she did it in tuck. So when Jen went and protested, she actually got another 4/10 on her score, which makes a big difference overall, especially when sometimes meets can be won by tenths of a point.
Easily, yeah.
Or it might come down to that gymnast trying to qualify for an individual event for the individual state meet at the end of the year, and the averages are so close that
Every 10th matters.
all right, it looks like they might be ready to announce the winner for the meet tonight.
Thank you everyone for coming. Final scores tonight. Algonquin 134.15 and MADS 142.
All right, so Jen definitely protested a few scores because that was a little higher than I had calculated. But that's a big win for MADS. 7-point win in gymnastics is huge. So congratulations to them, and good luck in the rest of their seasons.